It's pattern recognition, and this can all be traced to historical patterns. That's why I really love it. Okay. Ah, wow. I've been loving this chat, guys. I love these questions. And if some of you guys are confused about like whose questions I'm answering, I'm live on 3 different platforms. Just a heads up. Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. That's what I do. Okay. So this upcoming week, right? We're in the middle of the eclipse portal. So with these transits that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to bring in sort of an edge of understanding that this is not that it's passive, but things are just going to be coming up. Things are going to be surfacing for us all, as always, to navigate. Yeah, astrology. I'm so glad I got into astrology when I was just a wee tot. By that, I mean like 15, because it's a massive language. And there's more that I'm learning. Never ends. So what we've got going on this week is on Monday. Monday's kind of our heavy hitter, and we've probably been feeling these transits build up. Also, I hit my face on a cabinet yesterday, and so now when I talk, because it's so bruised, you can't even see it. Now I don't look cool. I was really hoping I'd look like cool, like I got in a fight, but it's a bit small. I can tell the difference. I see my face every day. Anyways. You guys are seeing me like fully unfiltered brain jumping all around the place. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the astrological forecast for the week of August 17th to August 23rd. So I'm excited to dive in. Monday's going to be our bigger day. So Monday the 17th, Mars is squared Neptune, Mercury's trine Saturn, and then Venus is sextile Jupiter. Then we have a transit happening on Friday, August 21st, where Venus is opposing Saturn. Then on Saturday, August 22nd, the sun enters Virgo. Thank God I'm ready for Virgo season. Get me out of Leo season. And Sunday, August 23rd, the sun is trine Chiron. So we're going to take a peek at my screen here, jumping into it. And thank you everybody over on TikTok for liking and sharing the live. It gets my content out to other people who may enjoy it. I've noticed with this dual streaming that TikTok doesn't really promote my content to the FYP, so that's cool. It's whatever. Anyways, now let's take a peek here. Let's jump ahead to the 17th. We've got Mars hanging out at 4 degrees of Cancer, making a square to Neptune. So this will be earlier in the morning. Actually, it's like pretty early in the morning. I'm sure this is a big chunk of the like pressure that we're feeling. We've felt the last few days. I'm not sure if anybody else has had some subtle irritation building or frustration that's kind of out of left field. This is probably that transit coming to a head. So when we look at Mars is our will, our drive, how we get things done, and Mars is in Cancer. It's kind of like throwing a tantrum about it. I feel bad. I feel like I've shit on Mars in Cancer the last couple weeks. It's a very interesting transit. When we actually look at Mars in Cancer, it's actually about defending our feelings and actually standing up for what we feel is right. Now, my logical brain goes into, well, feelings can't really be justified, right? Where it's like, well, you felt this way. Was that a proper reaction to the circumstance or the truth of what was going to be said, etc.? So, that's where I kind of go into my own little monologue about that. But when we actually deepen into this transit specifically, this square is creating tension with Neptune. I'm going to pause and just check in with everybody. Y'all following? Hello, welcome, King. Hi, Maserati. Is that? Yeah. Yes. Welcome. It's like I need to take a moment. Mars was ruling our solar eclipse that happened just a week ago, and Mars is sort of this heavy hitter right now. And I really want to emphasize that because we just had a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Cancer during most of July. And so Mars is kind of coming in and like doing a lot of action-oriented cleanup around what was surfaced during the Mercury retrograde. And so this square happening to Neptune is creating a, yeah, basically what I was already saying. So Neptune is our planet of spirituality, our planet of, it's like the higher octave of love. It is unconditional love. It is the dissolving of boundaries and oof. Ow. I just got a sharp heart pain. Who, y'all good? Who's hurting? Who is hurting? And this square is really bringing up frustration about probably spiritually bypassing your feelings. I'm going to be so honest. This transit is Mars, and the way squares work, and this is kind of how I like to frame a square within astrology. It's a 90-degree angle, and it creates tension. It creates friction and irritation. So if we think of like the tectonic plates, when they rub up against each other, something happens. Something happens, whether it's an earthquake, a tsunami, volcanic eruption, right? That's what happens when the tectonic plates rub up against each other. That's sort of like a square. So we have Mars rubbing up against Neptune, and Mars is standing in this archetype of Cancer, really wanting to fight for our feelings. And Cancer is all about self. It's the first water sign, so it's how I feel. How I feel. Yeah. Yeah, bless my males with Mars and Cancer. Like there is a beautiful opportunity for the Mars and Cancer, which it's like really owning the feelings and like really creating safe containers for you to properly release feelings and move through them. And the actual individuation and evolving of that energy is super powerful. As always, each placement has its underbelly, which the underbelly of Mars and Cancer is getting your feelings hurt really easily when it's not actually usually about you. And that's like the hard truth with it. I have a lot of Cancers in my life, like a lot. So I've gotten the opportunity to really witness and reflect with them. So Mars and Cancer really wants their feelings to be justified and heard and witnessed and respected, right? And that's the thing about feelings, is it's personal and it's fleeting and it is just a reaction to something, right? Where they come and go. Now, Neptune in Aries retrograde has been having us do this really deep internal work around self-love, right? I'm such a fan of Neptune and Aries right now because it's really shaking off the previous dust of Neptune in Pisces, and it's really having us lean into radical self-love, like the revolution being based on self-love by taking care of self and becoming the best version, not like the best version, but being like responsible for your feelings, being responsible for how you show up, how you navigate and how you engage with other people and how you love yourself in that process. It wakes other people up. It supports other people, right? And this square is kind of this edge around, you might have feelings coming up that maybe don't necessarily feel justified in the deep sense of self-love, where it's like, oh, right, this thing happened and I see the greater picture of it, and it's a spiritual bypassing ultimately. And so I usually find through transits that usually it is a play between you and somebody else, specifically squares. So somebody might be playing the role of the Mars in Cancer in your experience, and you're the Neptune in Aries, or vice versa, right? And of course, if there's not any external influence, it might be an internal experience where you're facing those parts of yourself on this Monday. And so this square really is bringing up like, you're allowed to have your feelings, and you're also allowed to have deep self-acceptance and self-love and let yourself feel your feelings and not make it wrong. So again, the squares create tension that bring a new perspective in. And that's what they do for greater integration, right? Sometimes conflict is one of the best things that we can go through because it really shows the truth, like what we stand for, where also squares bring up like where maybe you've bypassed your boundaries or you've neglected your edges and boundaries, and somebody takes advantage of that and you have to go, oh shit, I need to put a boundary down. Hello, Mappy. So yeah, on Monday, this square is coming up to really invoke acceptance of your deep feelings for the sake of true self-love, right? Where sometimes this Neptune in Aries can kind of get on its high horse and it's just like, yeah, I'm just going to love myself, but there's no depth to it. And that's where this Mars in Cancer is really inviting in more depth and like, what is really activating you right now? Additionally, on this day, we have Mercury making a trine to Saturn, which is really, really supportive. I really like this. So we've got Saturn at 14 degrees of Aries retrograde, and then Mercury at 14 degrees of Leo. This is right. When I speak to all of these transits, they all come together in a very unique way. So now we have this supportive trine, this harmonious influence happening between our planet of communication and Saturn retrograde in Aries. And Saturn retrograde in Aries has been inviting us into looking at what we've built the last 6 months and reevaluating that structure, like really testing it out, putting it to the test. So I feel like this square can be one of those testing edges, one of those moments that brings in, how do I want to word this? The tension, or it's a stress test is kind of like what I'm picturing this as is like, okay, does the foundation hold for something like this? Insert big emotional storm or big feelings, right? And you might find where there's compromising structural pieces within the foundation you've been working on. Does that make sense? Sometimes when I am talking about the astrology, it makes sense in my head, and I want to make sure that you guys are following, because Saturn has been really having us restructure our boundaries and restructure our identity too. And so this restructuring that's happening with the retrograde is we're going to have this access to communication about it. So Mercury is bringing in this edge of like, oh, I'm going to be able to talk about what I'm reconfiguring. And actually, it feels beautiful in the sense of being able to communicate honestly where okay, I'm getting like such rich imagery with this. It's really beautiful, and it's sort of like this square that's happening is such a beautiful invitation to actually have like a heart to heart and a real conversation around like old foundational pieces that might be leaving your life right now, and like the grief that comes in with it. And I feel like that Mars in Cancer really is that grief invitation of like, oh, this, like, because I'm literally, okay, let me just explain what I'm seeing in my mind's eye is I'm like seeing a foundation, right, to build a house. Like you level the ground and you start putting in these foundational pieces, and I'm seeing 4 corners, and you've got 3 corners that are really, really like well done, and the 4th one is one that's really old and really rotted, but it like it's emotionally tied to something, to a story, right? That's the thing about Cancer energy, is it's really tied to memory. And so you're looking at that, and whatever this square is invoking for you, it's like the grief of like, yeah, I need to replace that. And that's what Saturn retrograde in Aries is saying, is like, hey, we need to have like a real honest heart to heart that like this needs to be removed. And the grief that comes with it, where a part of you, your highest self, Neptune and Aries, is like, yeah, this needs to change. But there is a really emotionally charged part of you that is moving through a lot of grief around letting go old structural pieces. Yeah. So this trine that is happening between Saturn and Mercury, it is like a very supportive space for conversation around rebuilding, around building new structures, around um, like an admittance of like, I have to let this thing go. And that being supportive and actually being able to share those things and to have conversations around what it feels like a strategy meeting, like now I'm hearing like board meeting. It's like, okay, yeah, these pillars aren't working. We have to like talk about it. And for some of you, depending on where it's falling within your natal chart, it's going to be deeply unique. It's going to have its own flavor to it. Okay. Additionally, on this day, we have a sextile happening, which is very beautiful and is going to add to this greater story that's at play here. So we've got Venus in Libra hanging out, making a sextile to Jupiter in Leo. And this is really yummy, truthfully. This is very, very delicious. So this sextile brings in a lighter, flirtatious energy in the sense of expanding through the heart, right? Venus in Libra brings in deeper conversational pieces where we can actually talk about these things. And Jupiter and Leo is really wanting to be seen in it. And so there's a sextile of actually, though there is this tension underneath the surface that we're grieving, we're going to be able to talk about these things in very supportive ways that expand our heart, that allow our heart to be seen in the vulnerability of not being a fully complete piece of art, right? If we looked at our lived experience as this tapestry of life, like it's constantly evolving and changing, and understanding that it's not supposed to be a fully finished thing. It's meant to be a work in progress. And there's something so beautiful about the vulnerability of being seen as a work in progress here, and actually using that as an expansion and using it to connect more vulnerably with people around you. Carolyn is asking, how much is a birth chart reading? I'd love to do that when I can. All my offerings are going to be on my website. I have different tiered levels and different things, so it just depends on what you're looking for. So definitely take a peek at that. And yeah, let me know. I would love to do that. I don't do live chart readings, obviously, for anybody who is new here. I don't do live readings, chart readings, because I go really deep. And I know I have a couple of clients here who are hanging out, listening. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's not something that I would do publicly because it's really potent. Aquarius Sun, Leo Moon, got yeah, I'm glad. Sweet Sacred Bless. Yeah, my pricing is in USD. Yes. Good question, actually. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think the site I use displays the currency. Interesting. Yeah, lots of stuff surfacing for sure. And so let's go ahead and jump to Friday, because Friday is our next transit on the 20, right? Friday 21st, we'll cast this chart. I'm going to drink some water. Everybody else drink some water. Okay. So on Friday the 21st, Venus is at 14 degrees of Libra, making an opposition to Saturn at 14 degrees. Yeah, you like my license plate, Taurus? It's almost like my name's Izzy and I'm a Taurus. I was really, really proud of that. Okay. So Friday, Venus, our planet of love, of adoration, of values, of worth, is staring face to face to Saturn, our planet of discipline, structure, and boundaries. So This is kind of a interesting moment here, especially because Saturn is retrograde. And whenever a planet is retrograde, it makes the work more internal. It's less of this outward action. It's more of like an inner introspection that's happening. And like I've already named with Saturn retrograde in Aries, it's been this reconfiguration around our identity, around what we've been building, on what we desire to create our identity from. It's this big piece and going slow and steady. It's kind of like, oh, okay, gotta look at the trajectory. Is this what I really want? For a lot of people, Saturn retrograde kind of shifted things. It's like, wait, I've been building something for like this long, for like 6 months, and I don't even know if I really want to do that anymore. It's a very Aries thing. Okay. So now this opposition, it's a little frustrating because Venus in Libra really wants to be seen and bring things into balance, find a level, an even keel, like even ground. And Saturn, they're having a whole thing happen in my head right now. I get a lot of rich imagery. Venus in Libra really wants to be seen right now. There's a part of you that feels like ready to be observed and witnessed, and Saturn is in a hermit mode right now, is in this space of like, we're not ready yet. And it's, you know what? So I always like to, I kind of personify the planets, and Saturn, Kronos, Father Time, he's kind of that paternal influence that we, at least I would have loved as a young girl, like a father that would say, no, like, here's your curfew, or like, no, here's the boundary. Yeah, my dad just used religion, which is cool. But it's kind of like a teenage girl arguing with her father. That's what this opposition feels like, where it's like, just got here. How much did I miss? We're about 45 minutes in, but we've been talking about the forecast for only, I think, like 20 minutes or so. So on Friday, there's going to be this facing off of like and I want to name that Venus in Libra is very well put together, right? I'm seeing like very, what's the word? I don't know why the word equestrian's coming in. But I'm getting this like private school-esque kind of vibe from this Venus in Libra, where it's like, I've got, like, she's like, I've done everything you've asked, like, I've got everything together, can't I just like go be in the world? Like, I just want to go to the school dance or whatever. And Saturn retrograde in Aries is like, no, because like I need to pay a bill. It's kind of like there's not actually like a reason for there to be a strong no, but it's just like no, because Saturn is retrograde and is like, I got the imagery of the Little Mermaid of air. Yeah, but Daddy, I love it. Yeah, literally, it's very like no, and not having like a good reason for it. Like Saturn's just like no, and so there is, again, there is this piece that I want to bring into this conversation where when I'm talking about the astrology here, this is a part of your internal dynamic to a certain degree, as within, so without. That's what the astrology does. Whether there is somebody around you where maybe some of you asked for a raise and your boss is like, no, you know, or like you ask for something and there's sort of this like unjustifiable edge. Oppositions just bring different perspectives. And so they're sort of like, how can we meet in the middle? How can we find like a compromise here? And so that's sort of the edge of this. And also, oh man, I have the eclipse portal flu. That's what I feel like right now. My entire body hurts. I feel like I'm not doing this opposition justice, because I feel like that's a big part of this Venus and Libra, where she's like, But that, like, Venus is coming in with like some cold hard facts of like, but actually, like, and here's the thing about Libra. I love this because Libras will bring in a different perspective just to give context and texture to a conversation, even if they don't believe in that other perspective. And so this Venus in Libra is like, well, actually, here's your answer. I have it. So what are you going to do from there? Like, how are you going to how are you going to debate this? And there's just this stubbornness. And ultimately, I feel this Saturn retrograde in Aries is sitting with a lot. It really is connected to what is coming up during this eclipse portal, which is a bit of like this death and rebirth. It feels like Saturn doesn't feel like they're solid ground right now. And the identity, it's like, how am I supposed to let this part of me be seen, Venus in Libra, when I don't even feel very secure within myself? Like my boundaries feel a little bit wobbly, and I just don't. Ultimately, it does come down to this protection piece, right? Saturn just wants to keep Venus safe. And it's like, I just don't, like, my own fears are getting in the way of that. So there is just a piece of that coming up. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, Saturn opposing Venus? They just have different perspectives. And I feel like just really inviting yourself to sit with both parts, right? And shout out to, I'm not sure if you're still here, Colleen. My friend Colleen does a lot of work with parts work through IFS. And it's really brought me into looking at the astrological planets and the transits as different parts of us, right? What is this bringing up for us? What is this surfacing within our own internal makeup? And how can we move through that? So this opposition just really is invoking that part of you that's afraid to be seen without being fully complete. Again, reiterating kind of what was evoked on Monday. And also the part of us where it's like, it's okay to be seen, and it's okay to have fear, and it's okay to feel the fear and do it anyways. So there is tension here, though. There is a little bit of like a battle of the minds, the heart, and the logic is what's coming through here. And I mean, Venus brings in a lot of good facts. She's like, actually, I have all the answers if you just like would let us go be seen. So that's happening now on the 22nd. Thank freaking God. It's later in the evening, truthfully. Let's do this at the sun enters Virgo. Oh, thank goodness. Leo season is not my favorite. I love Leos. Leo season is just rough for me personally. So the sun enters Virgo. We're going to have a little Virgo moment. I love Virgo energy. I might be a little biased. Virgo is the 6th sign. And as the sun enters Virgo, and I do want to mention that we've got Jupiter in Leo. So whatever sign the sun is in, because Leo rules the sun, is amplified. So I really like that for all of us. It's like there's going to be like this extra oomph to each season here, like an extra like little bonus kind of sauce that's added with Jupiter being in Leo. So let's talk a little bit about Virgo. Virgo being the 6th sign, we're going to do a little lesson here because I love teaching astrology. So we've got our first 4 signs. Aries. Oh, thank you, Marilyn. You're reading the other day about the ape needing to protect against the emotions. I'm a psychic empath and it was so overwhelmed that day. Thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you. I'm really glad that resonated. The readings lately on YouTube have been so freaking potent. I'm really, by the way, everybody, I'm really pouring into the YouTube channel. It's kind of where I've been called directionally. So if you've yet to subscribe, it's also 8th house Mercury. So to come back to talking about the Virgo season, our first 6 signs tell a story here, right? From just infantry all the way to maidenhood. Okay. And so Virgo is seen as, right, the maiden, the virgin, right? And I want to go a bit deeper because we have to break down the archetype of the virgin. When we actually look at the origin of the word virgin, it means unto thy own, unto her own, right? This is somebody who is sovereign within themselves and they choose who gets access to them. And that is what it means to be a virgin. It's unto your own. You are not owned by anybody but yourself. Okay, so there's a big reclamation with that Virgo energy here. Now, the thing about Virgo is it's the last sign before we enter into partnership, Libra, and then relating to the collective. So with that being said, Virgo is all about finding equilibrium and finding self before entering partnership. It's all about mind, body, spirit alignment. Okay. And so the alignment that comes in with Virgo is really understanding how important your vessel is, how important like inhabiting your vessel is, and honestly, like being discerning. That's a big keyword for Virgo. And as the sun enters Virgo, it really is a season of discerning, of harvest, of like getting ready to reap into this new phase of self. I don't know why it did that. I don't know why I did that either, Callie. So I love Virgo season. Again, I am biased. I'm going to name that very clearly. I have a bias. I love Virgos. I love Virgos. So as the sun enters Virgo, we're moving into a new state of clarity, of clearing, right? Especially as the following week we'll have a lunar eclipse happening in Pisces, which is finishing the Pisces Virgo axis. This is going to be the first Virgo season that we're having without the South Node in Virgo for the last almost 2 years. So it's going to feel vastly different. It's almost like the past couple years Virgo season has felt like a war zone is a little bit what's coming to mind, where it's like everything, it's like picking apart, being very picky and picking apart everything and pulling at those edges and those threads, and a little bit neurotic, right? Virgo can go that direction for sure, where it's like if it's so hyper fixated on the perfect details, it can get a bit neurotic. And so this is going to be the first time that the sun's in Virgo that we don't have the South Node there anymore. So it's going to be softening, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air. It's, you know, it's smelling like clean sheets and a nice like late summer breeze, which I really, really love. Trying to quit cigarettes, quitting soda with black coffee, quitting Doritos, trying to get more healthy. I would say do one thing at a time. A hard quit of all those things can be really hard on your nervous system. And instead of saying trying to, there's no such thing as trying. You either do it or you don't. That's coming from your Virgo rising queen here. You either do it or you don't. So choose. That sounds lovely. Yeah, Meg, it sounds so freaking good. I would start with the cigarettes. Yeah. I'd be saying that. Virgo rising here. Yeah, let's go. We're the best. That's why I'm biased. So it really is like cleaning up shop is kind of the energy as the sun enters Virgo. It's our ego identity moving into the sign. So for the next season, we're going to be really cleaning things up, getting it clear. And now I'm hearing like the song from Snow White, Whistle While We Work. And it's like, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good because it's like finally that South Node in Virgo energy is released, right? That's what we've been moving through, is like that hyper perfectionism and integrating into the North Node in Pisces, which has been inviting us into letting go and letting God. And in the process of doing that, it makes the day-to-day mundane easier, right? When you trust in God, source, universe, it makes every day easier. One of my favorite fucking things from one of my favorite books, The Complete Works of Florence Scovel Shinn, is just giving it to God, just letting go and giving it to God. And like, when I don't know something, I'm like, God, I trust you. I just don't, like, if I don't know, it's fine. Yeah, I've been wanting to declutter. Haven't had the mental energy. Yeah. Yes. And so that'll be coming in, and it's going to be nice. I really am excited about the lunar eclipse that's coming up. I will have a full YouTube video on that and breaking it down. So that's going to be coming out this next week. What else do I want to talk about with Virgo, the sun in Virgo, other than it's perfect? Yeah, I feel like I'm just looking at my favorite season, and I'm just excited for it. Yeah, this is a good time to clear things out. I always love Virgo season, because think about like back to school. For those of you who do have kids or like work in school systems, it's like you prepare and you get everything ready, you get things color coded, you get things organized. This is a great time to like really look at what has been moving through the eclipse portal. And once the portal ends on the 27th, it's like, okay, Virgo season is going to be the supportive energy to really like, okay, how do we carry through this energy that's come up, and how do we create systems to support that, right? Beautiful. Now on Sunday, the sun in Virgo is making a trine to Chiron, and it's earlier in the morning on Sunday. As you can see, in the evening, the sun is already at 1 degree of Virgo. So Sunday, the 23rd, the sun trine Chiron in Taurus. I love this. Trines are always supportive aspects. Sunday's your birthday. Yay. Oh my gosh. Happy birthday, Virgo. Let's go. Do you have any plans? I hope you celebrate. Please. Virgos are notorious for not celebrating themselves. So please celebrate yourself. Take yourself out to a nice dinner or a brunch. This trine is bringing in so let's talk about Chiron and Taurus first. Chiron just barely dipped into Taurus before stationing retrograde. So we all got a quick little moment, a quick little feeling of a bit of our self-worth wounds coming up, our values, a little test to the 3D realm, the pentacles, right? The earthly experience. And Dirty 30, yay! Got kids on Sundays. We're doing cupcakes, yay! Oh, beautiful. I'm glad you're doing something for yourself. And it's so fun celebrating with the kids too, because it just shows them like permission to celebrate and to, yeah, appreciate you. That's awesome. Chiron and Taurus retrograde, a lot of it has been a reworking of your values. And so the sun making a trine here is going to bring in this like very clear understanding. It's not like, now Virgo will want to fix and save this Chiron and Taurus and be like, here's all your answers. But I actually feel that this Virgo energy is going to be a bit softer in the sense of, or maybe I'm going to invite in softness of like your heart, your wound around money and worth and values, and those things are coming up. And it really is this supportive trine around like, okay, well, what can we do to bolster that? What can we do each day to reaffirm our worth? How can we, and not going so far on the other end of the spectrum that Virgo can do, where it's like, I've got to prove my worth. I've got to overgive and sacrifice everything and give to everybody. It's okay. What can I do for myself? What software is this? This is Luna Astrology. Yeah. So this trine is going to bring in a very clear, like, I'm seeing like you finding a beautiful structure around like, oh, this is going to help me not feel better about myself, but really notice what I need to feel valuable, which might be going on a walk. It's very practical with the Virgo energy. It's like, oh, I need to do better hygiene. Like I haven't been cleaning my house, right? And this is something that I love. Again, I'm a Virgo rising, is your environment. How you take care of your environment is a reflection of your internal experience. So if it's a cluttered mess, my friends, your internal landscape is a cluttered mess. I'm just being honest. So use this time to actually do things to take care of yourself. You might be realizing, oh yeah, like I've got some old food in the fridge I need to throw out, or like looking at my space. Yeah, I'm pretty clean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, I have a thing on my ceiling that catches the flies. I could replace that. It's got a bunch of flies on it. I'm like trying to find some examples in my life, so I'm not just, pointing at other people. Oh, I know what I can do. I need to get a broom, and I need to organize my bins outside and make things look nice. I want that. And I also want to clean the outside of my house. I want to clean my windows so I can see out more clearly. So that, I love giving you guys tangible things around these aspects, because it's like, yeah, what can I do? The Virgo sun is really inviting in like hey, like, you don't have to feel bad about these things. We can actually take tangible action to build our worth, right? If that feels low right now, what can we do every day, right? Virgo's all about consistency, to build, to bring in routines, to bring in structures that actually benefit my health, benefit my body, benefit my mind, feed my soul, right? That's what Virgo really desires, okay? So a quick recap for the week. Monday, August 17th, Mars is square Neptune, Mercury is trine Saturn, and Venus is sextile Jupiter. That's going to be kind of our heavier day. We'll spend the rest of the week kind of integrating that energy. And then on Friday, August 21st, Venus is opposing Saturn. On Saturday, August 22nd, the Sun enters Virgo. And then Sunday, August 23rd, the Sun is trine Chiron. Okay? Woo-wee! Hi, Anka. Welcome.